So, to begin with, let's look at inspection, if you can see it at all. In reply to a parliamentary question last week, CQC issued the following statement. Under CQC's new inspection methodology, every adult social care provider is due to get a planned review every 2 years. The new methodology only came into force on the 1st of October 2010. It is too early to give a clear estimate of how many site visits will be made, or the length of time between visits. CQC is not planning any further changes to the methodology in the next 12 months. The methodology does not prescribe a set frequency or duration for visits. In line with the principles of risk-based regulation, CQC carries out visits in line with its judgment of risk when these are the most effective way of gathering information about compliance. But we know different. It doesn't actually mean that at all. It really means that if you, as an owner or manager, make sure that you fill in your provider's compliance assessment forms correctly, and John Brown of Mercia Care, who's got a stand and was speaking earlier, will be of immense help with doing that. If you fill in your forms correctly and nothing has permeated through to CQC that there's any problem in your home, your biennial, that's once every 2 years, review will take place without an inspection visit. No inspector will come knocking on your door to see what life and care are really like in your home, to talk with residents and staff, to see meal times and the early morning or the evening. If, however, you happen to report to CQC that the home is going through a difficult time, and most homes do, that you can't recruit sufficient suitable staff, which is a common problem for lots of homes, that you picked up some mistakes in the administration of medication, and I promise you, and I'm sure all of us know, that no year goes past without some mistake being made in medication. And it is not necessarily a serious matter at all. But if you try to cover up mistakes, you lose the ability to put them right. Or you report that the furniture in the lounge needs replacing, or I think as John Brown said earlier, didn't have plastic covers all over them. Your risk rating will climb considerably, and you may even get a visit. After a site visit, like on a building site. After the visit, the inspector will tell you what you told him or her. They'll feed back to you your own observations of how the place is doing. Very useful. And you will be punished for your honesty. Your time will be taken up with filling more forms and reporting to CQC more regularly. The local authority may decide that they can't place more residents in your home. You'll lose income, and at these times of cuts, you may find that the home loses financial viability and closes. And to add insult to injury, you may find that CQC claims to have closed your home because you failed to comply with its rigorous new inspection regime. Last year, some of you will remember this, CQC dishonestly claimed to have closed 34 care homes and 8 care agencies ahead of their tough new registration system. I work in children's homes as well as care homes for adults. Even though the regulator, in that case Ofsted, takes broadly the same stupidly bureaucratic approach to inspection that CSCI Seasky used to take. It does, however, inspect children's homes twice a year. Why do you think that might be? Any ideas why it's all right to not to inspect care homes for adults, but children's homes have to be inspected twice a year?
There'd be an outpouring of rage in
Yes.
the country if it didn't happen.
Absolutely.
Mm.
You know, something went wrong. My goodness. Wow, what a big fuss there would be if Ofsted hadn't inspected that children's home in the, you know, say they hadn't inspected for the whole year, or 2 years, or 3 years, or never at all. They just relied on feedback from the owners or managers. It's ridiculous. And it shows how differently older people in particular are valued from children. But of course it suits government as well, because they have to protect themselves from the outcry that one child dying in difficult circumstances. And I'm not underestimating the tragedy of those when children are neglected and killed and abused. But this happens to older people as well. But there isn't the same outcry. Nothing like the same outcry. So, the general public, those who have never had to ask CQC for help, believe that all is well. But all of us who work in or with social care, and the clients of social care who have experienced an inadequate or poor service, we all know that CQC is not fit for purpose. Increasingly, politicians and senior civil servants are questioning whether a regulator that doesn't inspect and doesn't deal with complaints and regulates through a computer terminal, which is how they do it, can possibly be effective. Things have got to change. And it is in our interests as professionals in this service to have an effective and responsive regulator. But much more than that, having an ineffective regulator is terrible for residents and relatives who need help, support and protection. They are the true clients of CQC. They pay more than £100 a year now for nothing. They get nothing. You think of it, they literally pay a couple of quid a week for nothing. It's nothing to do with the residents. They never see, you know, the reports aren't written for them. I mean, there aren't reports, there aren't inspections, they never see an inspector. Why are we taxing people to run this absurd organisation?